I ain't shit, so whatever. Cause like, yeah, I was like, hey, come out to this networking event, see if you can get any leads. You know, I've been trying to. She posted something about she was looking for work, so I'm like, hey, let's see if we can get you something. Give her a little bit of tips or some leads that I know about around town. And she didn't show up to the networking event. Hopefully, you know, she did rather well and got the job for her interview, so we'll hear how that goes. I think I skipped one area, so I don't know if there was a siege weapon thing that I needed to do in the little area that I skipped. I should go ahead and do that since I just ended up coming back around over here. So, like, yeah, it was pretty much like, if he can't make it to the networking event, I guess then maybe we'll just meet up nearby, elsewhere. Actually, did I skip some place over here? No, there was some place over here. So yeah, and I waited there, and she didn't show up there either, so. I got to read a book, though. I guess that was cool. I finished it in the 2 hours that I was sitting at the library. Day Tripper. I would highly recommend it. I really wanted to like it more, but I couldn't. Because it was mostly, like, based on, like, social and feels, and it got the feels down pretty damn good. But a good portion of, like, the feels were in relation to, like, family and friends, and I don't really care too much about my family, and I don't have any friends, so, like, it's in that aspect, it's kind of difficult for me to relate, but, you know, it did get some feels going. They did a pretty good job of getting that happening in the book. But I'd highly recommend Day Tripper. And then I also got, what is it? Persepolis, by Marjane Satrapi. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing that right. But it was pretty good. Graphic novel. You know, more of a coming-of-age story. Usually I kind of avoid that stuff. However, I've seen that, you know, yo, you got a machine gun, dude? Really? Really? So, you know, it was okay. I was kind of pissed at myself because I did get the book, and I didn't spend any time to look into it. I think I saw it. I noticed that I probably even looked at it. I'm pretty sure I remember looking at it. But they had there was a sequel to the book. They had, like, okay, so they released it, and then they released a sequel to the book, and then they released a complete edition to the, you know, combining both the books. And I got the first book instead of getting the complete edition or grabbing the second version. And I'm pretty sure I saw the other ones and I was like, oh, well, I don't recognize that. So I'm just going to grab this. And really, I was contemplating on grabbing something else, and I'm thinking I should have grabbed the other thing I was looking at. I think it's like Signal to Noise by Neil Gaiman. I think that's how you say his name. And I don't think I've read much of his stuff at all, really. Maybe like one or two things, or some short story, like, you know, a short thing in Vertigo Winter's Edge of Sandman. I want to check out Sandman too. They got a couple of the collection book things. But I really need to figure out which ones I need to get, and, you know, then I'll read through everything Sandman. I've heard good things about it, so we'll see how that is. I just haven't gotten around to it. Right now, if I'm reading stuff, I've been reading, like, really short shit. But, you know, I'm looking forward to checking out Sandman, too, though. I've heard it seems to have a pretty damn good reputation. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it. And it seems like Neil Gaiman has quite an awesome reputation within the comics industry anyway. So, we'll see how that is when I get around to it. Also, if you decide to, which you should, I would highly suggest it. It would be cool if you did. It'd be cool if you followed me on Facebook or Twitter or Tumblr. But I'm going to be sharing like all of my top favorite shit of the year. And, you know, it'll be like everything video games and music and comics and books and all that shit. And like just, you know, all my top favorites. It'll be like top 5 or top 10, whichever one it is, you know. And the shitty thing is, the only list that is going to be completely made up of stuff released this year would be music. It's the only thing I can keep up with. So hey, that's why I say support my shit so I can afford new video games and I can play new video games. Nude video games. No, I said I was trying to say new, and then it kind of sounded like I was saying nude. So either way, we can get some new video games and I can play them in the nude, and I can stream it and everybody can watch me. And it'd be like I will take off some clothing every time I die, which I hear they banned that on you know, they want you to stay dressed on Twitch. Like they said, even dudes keep their shirts on type thing, or you can get in trouble for it. I'm trying to show off my pecs. What you think I was working out for? I'll leave it working out to show off on Twitch, man. Come on. You know you tuned in just to see these muscles? But, you know, it'd be definitely really fucking awesome if I could just, you know, definitely stay on top of everything and afford to stay on top of everything. Okay. I have been over here before? I don't remember being... Oh, wait, no. I haven't. I have not. Maybe I have. No, I don't think I have. Maybe I have. Because it looks like there's something down... Maybe I didn't come down this way. Okay. Well, I'm going to go over here. I don't know how many more siege things they want us to destroy. So we'll see how that goes. What was I saying, though? Kind of forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to those comics. I have a lot of stuff to read right now. I have a lot of stuff to read. And then I also got, what is it? I think it's called After These Shores, History of African Americans. What is it? I see it. From 1513 to 2008. I'm pretty sure that says 1513. I'm looking across the room to see those numbers, so might have read it wrong. And it is by Henry Louis Gates Jr. So far, I've gotten like one chapter in, and it is it's pretty not complex. What's the word I'm looking for? Comprehensive. Which is what my goal was when I checked it out anyway. I knew it was gonna be pretty fucking comprehensive. Not as much as I was expecting, though. Because, you know, it's quite big. It is quite big. I mean, I was expecting something. Not expecting it to be quite as big as, you know, maybe a textbook I would get in school. So, you know, I'm trying... Usually when I, like, get into non-fiction, I usually have a little difficulty staying tuned into it. You know, when I first start it. Like, I don't know, first portion, I usually have difficulty paying attention to it. You know, easily bored, shit like that. And then I can usually, you know, gets into it, grows on me, you know, after that point. Okay, fuck you and your knockbacks, dude. Usually after that point, it usually gets in, and then, you know, I just can't put the fucking book down, really. But it does kind of suck, because it, like, wants to put me to sleep, and I'm, like, trying not to go to sleep as I'm reading, stuff about history. And that kind of sucks, like, I want to be more into it, but then it, like, you know, I have to sit there and reread stuff sometimes, because I totally zoned out on what I was reading. However, you know, so far it's been quite insightful. It kind of skips over a lot of things, which I know I can, you know, when I get around to it, then I'll read more about slavery. I want to read about the slave revolts. But there's all kinds of different topics and history stuff that I do want to check out. And, you know, I wanted to lead that onto another topic, which would probably be rather amusing. But all through, you know, K to 12, I never gave a fuck about history or any of that shit. You know, I was just like, you know, fuck all that shit. And, you know, I couldn't quite pinpoint why that was. Like, I understood it. Well, not understood stuff, but, you know, I had an idea that I couldn't pinpoint exactly why it didn't interest me very much. And you know, it was so fucking boring then anyway. And then I realized, you know, as I get older, as I keep reading it, and, you know, sometimes I gotta power through it. Sometimes it's like, hey, this is actually, I don't want to say interesting, because I forget the word. Like, I always have like a word. I found the right word to express it, but it's like not interesting in that type of way. It's like, oh yes, it was interesting that there was hundreds of years of slavery and oppression, and it continues to be perpetrated today. Yes, that is quite interesting. No, it's not. Interesting isn't quite the word for it. All siege weapons destroyed. Now where do you want me to go? Where do you want me to go? Or what do you want me to do? Destroy the forge. Forge is the heart of the war machine in the mountain. Okay, well, I guess we're not done yet. So, you know, now that I'm older, I realize a lot of my disinterest in it, or a lot of my disdain for it, a lot of my boredom, was because they don't tell the truth in what they teach us in school. It's quite whitewashed, and even when it's not exactly dishonest or overtly dishonest, it